Good morning, wrestling fans, and welcome to PWR Today, not Wednesday, but Thursday morning, March 10th, 2022. The man they call Meathead, the Batman of the PWR Today show, Matthew Thomas. Good morning, Batman.
Well, thank you very much, sir. So I guess that would make you my Robin.
I'm not your boy wonder in any kind of world or any kind of little fantasy that you might think of.
You don't want to be my ward?
No, I'm not your young boy. I'm not your ward. I'm none of that.
Yeah, you know what? That's something I don't feel like there's enough of, man. Not enough.
I'll be your people, Alfred. That's what I'll be.
Not enough people have wards anymore.
I'll be your Pennyworth.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe that's what you do. Just put on a little ad on Craigslist for a good ward. Maybe we need a ward on this program. You know, we lost our intern many years ago. He's gone on to bigger and better things. Maybe that's what we do. You know what? You and I are both going to be in Dallas along with Linda. Maybe we host a PWR Today ward
hunt. Damn you, sir. Damn you, sir. Damn you to hell. I got to work on my English accent, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, big things are happening in Dallas. It's the road to WrestleMania. We might as well find us a ward while we're there.
We're less than a month away, literally, Matthew. 1, 2, 3 weeks away before we're on planes.
Wow, yeah, that's huge, man. It's the clock is ticking down.
Speaking of ticking down, when I'm on the plane and I'm looking at the clock, what am I wearing?
I don't know where there's a clock at on the plane. I don't know what kind of plane you're flying in, but you're going to be wearing collar and elbow brand.
Clock and elbow?
not to be confused with the sister company, Clock and Elbow, but collarandelbowbrand.com, available exclusively at collarandelbowbrand.com. You know what time it is? It's time for you to buy some collar and elbow and save with promo code LindaK, LINDAKAY. Saves you 10% that you can use to buy more collar and elbow or a clock if you do prefer that you can take on a plane, man. If you take anything ticking on a plane, I don't think they're going to think very kindly of you.
No, but I mean, we need Vader to walk onto the plane and says, "What time is it?"
Well, Damien Nelson's got to answer that question.
He does. Or if you can get, yeah, boy, and have that big clock right on his chest.
Oh, yeah. It's a possibility.
Little flav. All right. Let's talk one real quick bit of / wrestling news / movie news. The Rock, the guy that smells what people's cooking, because he rides around on his bike and sniffs into the house to see what's for dinner. The Rock has 2 big movies coming out this summer, and apparently they're both being delayed. You and I had a pre-show conversation about the Batman, about the DC Extended Universe. We all love the Marvel Extended Universe. The Rock's new movie, Black Adam, has been delayed. It was supposed to come out July 29th, now being pushed to October 21st. And his animated movie with Kevin Hart, Crypto the Superdog, which is being produced by Rock's company, is going for May 20th and taking over July 29th. Matthew, we talked about the Extended Universe. I know that you're 2 episodes away from finishing off the Peacemaker with John Cena. There is a possibility, and this I want to talk about. There is a possibility that John Cena and The Rock could meet each other in the DC Extended Universe.
How cool would that be? I'm all for that, man. That would
I'm all for that.
Great. I mean, they met each other in the WWE Extended Universe once in a lifetime, 2 years in a row. So it might as well happen in the DC Extended Universe.
Could you imagine John Cena's Peacemaker trash talking Black Adam?
Oh, that would be outstanding.
Unfortunately, Black Adam would get his ass owned on it because Black Adam is a legendary creature, and John Cena's, technically a human that just has really great tools and great skills. But I would pay to see that. Take my money now to see those 2 in the DC Extended Universe.
Oh, then don't you know they're well aware of that. So, yeah, I mean, you talk about an impromptu Rumble appearance, man. Maybe you have Black Adam and Peacemaker square off in a Rumble one year, huh?
I would, you know what? We were closer than we think to having the Peacemaker at the Royal Rumble. That would have popped me huge. Even if he shows up at WrestleMania for some reason, that would pop me huge.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, yeah. Oh, you know what? I think that's the way to do it, man. I think you have him as an in-ring appearance, as opposed to actually in the context of a match. Not that I would have minded it either way. Oh, that would be wonderful.
We don't have a ton of news, but I do want to talk about one injury coming out of Revolution, not Evolution, because Evolution is mystery. Not Triple H, Batista, Randy Orton, and Ric Flair. No, out of Revolution last Sunday, Orange Cassidy not requiring surgery. We're not about placing blame on anybody, but I rewatched that spot a bunch of times, and it was shown again last night on Dynamite. Keith Lee threw Orange Cassidy out of the ring, and it was supposed to be caught. I think Keith Lee just chucked him too far, and the guys couldn't catch him, and he landed on the ramp by himself. Did you see that spot? Do you know the one I'm talking about?
Yeah.
In the face of a Revolution ladder match?
And I saw the replay last night as well.
What did you think about it? I mean, do you agree?
No, I mean, he overshot. You know, it's it wouldn't surprise me, man. I mean, Keith Lee's got some strength to him.
He has more than he thinks he has.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's talk about Dynamite last night. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying Dynamite was a night full of title matches and conflicts. Holy smokes. I mean, woof. We had, your phrase pre-show, what was it again?
It felt like a reset to a certain extent. It's very rarely do you come away from an AEW show because they do such a great job of having 1 week flow into the next, and not that they did not last night, but you're coming away from it with so many major talking points, so many major new angles. They didn't come out of anywhere. They flowed and they segued, like they should. But my goodness, you feel like to a large extent, the landscape of AEW has changed in a night.
Let's start off with the opening segment. Chris Jericho opens up, and he's reaching out to the fans. And I'm telling you, I'm not saying it because here we are post-show, and I can go, nah, I told you so. But Matthew, what else did we talk about pre-show? Said, boy, I called a lot of stuff for him last night.
You did.
Doesn't matter.
You called the premiere. You called the blah, blah, blah. You called a lot.
Yeah, so Jericho was giving me that I'm going to talk to you guys, but he's got something up his sleeve move, even though he was wearing a vest. So he calls out Eddie Kingston and says, I was wrong. I should have shook Eddie Kingston's hand. Eddie Kingston also stealing a very, very prominent, the man they call Meathead line. Do you know which line I'm talking about when he said it to Jericho? What line did he take?
Hello, kind sir. How are you today?
No. He said that Jericho not respecting the younger talent is a Jericho problem, not an Eddie problem, a Jericho problem. That's my line. If you guys know anything about the man they call Meathead, he always says there's me problems and you problems.
Hey, how great was it, though, Eddie, putting a quick stop to those what chants?
Oh, that was absolutely, it's Stone Cold's not here. My man Stone Cold's not here, so stop it.
Let me ask you this. Are you amazed that was happening at AEW to begin with? I mean, that seems like an and I say that because the AEW audience seems to have so much utter respect for what's going on in ring. That's one great thing about AEW. I mean, very rarely have we gotten any...
They're in a new city. They were in a new market last night, and it was in Fort Myers, Florida, which is formerly Florida Championship Wrestling country. So... I mean, maybe they're not total AEW fans. I saw some Roman Reigns shirts in the crowd. I saw, there was maybe that's, and Eddie shot it down right away. Yeah. Well, let's get to the crux of it here. 2.0 came out with Daniel Garcia. Jericho Jericho presented it like he was fighting off 2.0 and attacked Eddie. And you know what? I saw this coming, folks. I not that I don't like it. I love it. But I saw it coming. Here's the other thing. Jake Hager came out. You know what? Jakey Boy is going to be sticking with Jericho, too. I can smell this one. And there it is, too. He goes after the rest of them. So, here's the thing. They both take their vests off. It was either going to go one of two ways for me. We've kicked out Santana Ortiz when they came down, and we've now brought in, 2.0 and Daniel Garcia, or Inner Circle's done. Conflict gone, poof, and they proved it's gone by taking their jackets off, laying them on Santana and Ortiz, and they said this new group now is called the Jericho Appreciation Society.
The fact that we have a new Chris Jericho stable is absolutely huge, and I was hoping
was made on night one of Dynamite.
Yeah, and they reiterated that, and I was hoping this wasn't going to be as simple as Jericho and Eddie are friends now, and they're going to be a tag team, and we're going to get behind them. No. Eddie needs his own thing. And I think Eddie opposing Jericho and Jericho's stable is what Eddie needs. And hey, we had a lot of people in that. The inner circle, man, they got the Jericho rub. That worked. It was effective. Now we have got a new stable. The only one that's bleeding over is Hager. We've got 3 new guys that will hopefully get that Jericho rub and make Jericho feel fresh again, man. Jericho, I think, is most effective as a heel, and he is a great stable leader. And my goodness, we're getting to see it again.
Does Judas stay?
Yeah, it's got to. It's got to.
Well, now he is the Judas.
Yeah, and that's what was reiterated by commentary. They said, "My goodness, his theme song is so fitting. I can't see them saying that and then not not running with it."
Question for you: were you shocked that there was a World Heavyweight Championship match to open a show, and Dante Martin was the challenger?
Yeah. No, because that's something that normally, if you've got a world title match, man, AEW is booking to that several weeks ahead of time. It's one of your, episodic big deals. So for them just to throw that out there was a surprise. Not that I didn't like it, but it's just different than the way they normally book.
I want to call to everyone's attention the last 30 seconds of the match. I thought it was a little sloppy, but I thought the accelerated finish into the buckshot looked good. Yeah. But it's like they didn't have their feet together.
Right. That was a little bit off there.
Plus, there was a miss too, where Adam almost dropped him, and then I think that was like, do you know what I'm talking about? It was at about the beginning of the match, and he caught him in midair for the Liger Bomb. I think it was.
Yeah, I want to say probably the scariest moment of last night though was actually the Hager, the initial attempt, Eddie. To get Eddie up. Yeah.
Did you see Daniel Garcia balance the feet out?
Yep. And it was still a rough landing for Eddie, but my goodness, initially he didn't quite have it.
Yeah. So, Eddie's a big guy. Jake's used to picking up a little bit smaller guy. So,
and keep in mind too, he was doing that on the apron, right?
Right. So he didn't have any footing.
Mm-hmm. And if you do go forward, man, you don't have that, you don't have the ropes to catch your fall, so very awkward angle he was trying to pick him up at.
Well, Adam Page wins with the buckshot lariat. Adam Cole comes out and calls him out for a 6-man tag next week and says, "I'll have my best friends as my tag team partners." Adam Page assumes it's going to be the Bucks. It says, "Hey, Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus still want a piece of the Bucks." So Dark Order not involved in the match.
Yeah, and I'm kind of fine with the way they're playing that. I think he needs to go further and further away from Dark Order if they want to kind of do the comedy thing of, okay, this is awkward. I'm fine with that. I don't think they need to go anywhere beyond that with it. I think Page for the longest while has needed to, be completely his own guy in the Dark Order stuff. At this stage for Page, has kind of felt a little out there.
Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley with William Regal taking on the Workhorsemen, which is JD Drake and Anthony Henry. Moxley and Danielson with the victory. Shivani worked overtime last night. That dude was in the ring for about 5 interviews. And he did one from the desk too, where he was announcing on the mic. Shivani, it must have been bonus time because he was working overtime.
Yeah. And I tell you, man, Regal in the ring with those two and with Tony.
He called him your lordship.
That felt big, man. Like Regal's addition and Regal being featured like he was last night. It was a big get when they got him, but my goodness, seeing him in that ring with Bryan Danielson and Moxley, it really felt like a big move for AEW.
He called him his lordship, William Regal, even though in WCW was Steven Regal. Remember, he's the guy that was put into the ring with Goldberg during the beginning of his streak, and Goldberg disrespected him, and Regal kicked the shit out of him.
Yeah.
So they talk about how Tony and Regal had worked 29 years ago on TBS together. He was doing some commentary, then he came over and did some wrestling. Regal's battles with addiction are very well documented as well. Steven Regal / William Regal is also a man, such a man.
Yeah, he is.
He's a real man. I miss that thing.
Oh my goodness.
More so just the singing. I mean, I miss the character, but I miss being able to do that as well.
Well,
'Cause he's
and I
a
mean,
man. Go ahead.
one of the, most people don't think of Raw GMs as having a great tenure, but one of the most entertaining Raw GMs that I can ever recall.
He had the
really,
best segment. Do you remember when he turned the lights on and off?
yes. Oh, it was.
And he had a houseboy too. He had Tajiri.
Oh my goodness.
Oh boy. But anyways, he basically got his two idiot violent sons together to be a tag team. He said, "You've got the perfect combination of the perfect wrestler, who is what I wish I was." So he told him the stuff not to do. Yeah.
Just go back a couple of years ago, man. I mean, what kind of parallel universe fantasy booking does this sound like? Bryan Danielson and
John
Moxley are in
managed.
AEW being managed by William Regal. This is outstanding.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Tag team division, be on alert, because these guys are going to be the tag team champions very soon.
AEW has absolutely ridiculous tag team division at this point. I mean, they
sure
honestly, in our YouTube show a week of nothing but tag team wrestling, they could do it easy.
Let's talk about tag teams. The Best Friends and Death Triangle. They put out some singles wrestlers. The Bastard Pack with Penta and Alex taking on Wheeler Yuta with Danhausen and Orange Cassidy. Did Danhausen come out right away with them guys, or did he come out from under the ring?
No, I think he came out right away. He was
because I didn't see him come out during commercial, but then as I'm watching through the commercial, I'm like, Danhausen's out there already.
Yeah, no, he came out with the entrance. Which I feel like to a certain extent, I'd like to see Danhausen featured a little bit more as his own thing. I feel like to a certain extent he's kind of gotten lumped into Best Friends, and I think that Danhausen as his own whatever.
I want to see him wrestle. Is what I want to see.
Yeah, I think that's where the money. All right, at least see him talk, man. We actually don't get to hear him talk on weekly.
I've never heard him talk.
Oh, he's hilarious, man. Like that's the Danhausen thing, is the Danhausen dialect, and oh my goodness, that's where the money's at with Danhausen.
Okay, Pac wins via submission with the Rings of Saturn. Adam Cole tells, the Bucks and the Red Dragon backstage that he's choosing the Red Dragon to be his tag team partners because, secondly, the Young Bucks said they don't want to have anything to do going against Adam Cole. They consider him a friend.
Yeah, and I think that's where we're ultimately going is Bucks and Red Dragon, and I'm fine with it, man. I mean, that's
I was going to say this almost seems like a throwaway. I'm segueing unless you have something else with the Bucks and Red Dragon. Nope. This almost seems like a throwaway. FTR fired Tully Blanchard.
Yeah.
Conflict.
That's interesting. I mean, it wasn't given much time, but that's a very notable piece of news there.
Like I said, it felt like a throwaway where it just happened during commercial breaks. And all of a sudden, by the way, FTR just fired Tully Blanchard. I mean, we've already got the issue with Wardlow and MJF. And then you've got the tag team of that Pinnacle group saying, get rid of Tully Blanchard. So they looked like faces there for a second.
Yeah. And hey, man, Arn needs something to do now, right?
Well, Arn's still working with the factory, isn't it? Is it the factory? Who's he working with? Whatever Cody Rhodes' group that he always trained.
The Nightmare Factory?
Nightmare Family, yeah.
Interesting.
All right. The AHFO, are having an emergency board meeting in the ring. You got Butcher and a Blade, you got House Party, and you've got Matt Hardy, and you've got Andrade. They say, give me a thumbs up if I stay in the group. Give me a thumbs down if I should go. And you see instantly House Party had their thumbs up standing behind Matt Hardy. I'm like, oh, I can smell it. It's coming. It's coming. And then they pan the camera back over again. Private Party's got their thumbs down. And it's a 5-on-1 beatdown. I'm like, oh, I don't want to whisper this at all, but I think somebody's coming in to help. Well, at first, it was Sting and Darby. But who came in to help after that, Matthew?
Well, I was going to say it'd be nice if Batista was there to actually, have him up on his shoulders prior to him doing the thumbs down. No, this was great. And my goodness, this was it wasn't as predictable as you thought it was going to be because you had Sting and Darby, but my goodness.
Tony Khan did the same swerve thing again where, he does the red herring and he throws you one direction and then gives you the thing you want.
It was predictable and it was wonderful because what happened when Sting and Darby came down, and I'd not put this together, I had not thought of it, but as soon as they come down, I'm thinking to myself, my goodness, how great would a face-painted Jeff Hardy look right between those two guys, Sting and Darby. And here's the thing too, man. There is a potential redemption arc there in that story with Sting and Jeff. Hardy. Yes. Oh my goodness. I mean, it wasn't necessarily, I don't feel like a red herring as much as they just primed you to get ready for Jeff Hardy. And people knew it was coming, but people loved it, man.
The second the 5-on-1 happened, did you see half of the crowd on the hard camera side turn to the ramp?
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I mean, we've seen various incarnations of the Hardy Boys in WWE, in Impact, again in WWE. Ring of Honor, my goodness, but it never ceases to feel big. And this once again felt like a major moment and a big get for AEW.
Here's the best part. Now, this might not be the best part for everybody else, but this is the best part for the man they call Meathead. What is my favorite part about wrestling, Matthew?
The music and also the hugs.
Well, I love the hugs. Did you hear the music he came out to?
Yes, I did.
Do you know why he came out to that music?
Does he own it?
Public domain music.
Interesting.
So the Hardy theme that we've been primed and really just told is Jeff Hardy, Matt Hardy, Hardy Boys music is actually public domain music. So the best part about Jeff Hardy coming out to the song he came out to, WWE can't stop him.
Yeah.
That's public domain music.
So what you're saying is we all own that.
I own a piece of it. You own a piece of it.
Yes.
My mom does. My mom loves that song.
He came out to our music, man. What more can you ask for? And here's the cool thing about Jeff Hardy in AEW. He is a guy, you go back and watch a Stone Cold interview and just everything you know of Jeff Hardy throughout the years, it's a guy who seems to really thrive on having a creative outlet and having a little bit of free reign with creativity. And we're not in the back of meetings, but if anybody at this juncture is going to give Jeff Hardy some room and some creativity, you feel like it's AEW right now.
Yes, sir. And we don't need to spend another 20 minutes on it, but think about the tag teams that could happen. FTR and Hardys, Young Bucks and Hardys, Lucha Express and the Hardys could do, they could all do wonders.
Insane.
All right. So that is just hour one. That's just hour one. We still have 2 more title matches to go. And here comes Wardlow. And Wardlow has officially made himself face by A, coming out of the face tunnel, and B, by cutting that amazing face promo.
And I had no idea that Wardlow would be as great of a baby face as we got last night.
Almost you knew he was on a mic.
You knew he was going to get a positive reception the way he's been positioned against MJF, but I was just blown away by the fact that this guy comes across as good as he does as a babyface, and it's not just the big imposing person that finally had enough. It's not the Psycho Sid face turn. This guy gets up there, he tells a story, and my goodness, it was so much more
resonated.
Than even my best expectations were set. It greatly exceeded those.
Next week, Wardlow and the TNT champion go head to head for that TNT championship belt. So it's happening right now. You want a Wardlow face? You got it. Mm-hmm. Now, AEW World Tag Team Championships on the line. Jurassic Express taking on the Acclaimed, the #1 tag team ranked in AEW. And, we always give Max Caster a hard time because he looks like Russell Wilson, who now belongs to the Denver Broncos. So, another tag team championship belt to go along with a new job in Denver.
Yeah, he looks like the guy that I saw in the grocery store a couple of days ago, kind of hanging around the area, asking. I think he said he was new in town or something. Which actually, not Russell Wilson. I did meet a guy at the gas pump a couple of days ago, a real nice fellow.
Yeah, was it dark out at night? Did he ask you for a ride?
No, it was actually during the daytime. And,
okay.
that's what, things, people are excited to talk to people, and now you get to meet strangers at gas pumps. Here's the thing: the last person I actually met, and I did shake his hand. The last person whose hand that I shook at a gas pump, as best I can recall, was actually Cody Rhodes. Not recently, but when I did see Cody some years back at a gas pump after an event, I did shake his hand. And so it's not something I do very often, but it did harken back to me meeting Cody at the gas pump.
Well, they met a defeat by the hands of the Jurassic Express and Christian Cage, still tag team champions. Let's go to an eliminator match. World title eliminator match. Legit Layla Hirsch, the #1 women's contender, taking on the #2 ranked Thunder Rosa. Thunder Rosa with the big win, Matthew. I had told you, I believe, on Monday morning's Revolution recap, you know what? It's okay that Thunder Rosa lost to Britt Baker, because I'll tell you what, I bet you at St. Patty's Day, coming up in about a week's time, she's going to get a rematch. It's going to be the third match, and they need to go to the cage. Tony Schiavone announces that Baker Rosa will happen. It'll happen next week, and it'll happen inside of a steel cage.
My goodness, a little meat birdie put that idea in my head, and sure enough, that's what happened last night. Good job.
It's a trilogy, right? So you had the lights out match that Thunder Rosa won, but it wasn't official. You had the title match at Revolution this last Sunday. She lost, and now you have the final match, the third. And I really believe next week, Wednesday, we will see a new women's champion.
I don't disagree with you one bit.
Tony, sit down now. You've been working way too hard today. TNT Championship. Scorpio Sky. He's got Dan Lambert and Ethan Page on his side. He has the Spanish god Sammy Guevara. They had to call out Excalibur on this, because Excalibur led off with saying Sammy Guevara is still wearing the Inner Circle vest. And I'm looking at it going, that doesn't say Inner Circle on it anymore. Yeah. That's a Sammy Guevara vest. Good news is, right after the first commercial break, I was just handed a note. Sammy is not wearing any Inner Circle insignia on his vest. No. That's perfect, because he saw it first, and then he watched the match, and then all of a sudden they checked it.
Yeah.
You know what? I like that. Go ahead and own it. Move on.
Absolutely.
Sammy Guevara does a 630 splash off the top, and it was supposed to put Sky through the table. Moved. Sammy goes through the table, and Ty Conte comes out. They spend a good 5 to 10 minutes trying to get Sammy to call off the match.
Yeah.
Well, Sammy goes back in. I'll take it all the way through, Matthew, and then we'll hear from you. Sammy goes all the way back in. He's holding his ribs, can barely get any offense going. Sky hit the TKO, and the first thing I said to myself, this better be it, because I know that this company protects finishes. 1, 2, 3. Winner and new TNT champion, Scorpio Sky.
This was a surprise. I did not think this was happening. I knew it was streak versus title, but I did not see this happening last night. Good on AEW for a genuine surprise. And Sammy, what a workhorse he has been recently with these matches pretty much each week. These intense matches with these crazy spots. And last night was the night that it didn't necessarily go his way. And a very solid, genuine surprise, at least to me, from AEW.
I still beg them to get rid of one of the belts. There's no need to be carrying around 2 belts. But next week, he does take on Wardlow. Remember, Scorpio Sky has not lost a singles match in over a year.
Yeah.
Is Scorpio Sky a 1-week TNT champion?
I don't think so, because I think we get further. Who did we not see last night was MJF. I think we get further progression with MJF and Wardlow. I think MJF costs Wardlow here, and we've got to tell that story. And I don't think you can have Scorpio hold it for a week and then drop it. So
no, he's the first ever tag team and TNT champion to hold 2 separate belts.
Wow, that's an awesome accolade there. And I mean, he's really somebody. Yeah, we've seen him with Ethan Page and Dan Lambert, but yeah, he's been undefeated for a year, but we haven't heard a ton about it. He's kind of flown under the radar. So let this be the cap on that year-long build, and give him that belt for a while, and let him run with it.
Now that I think about it, remember AEW's only been around 3+ years, right? Now that I think about it, we have only 4 world champions. Can you name them right now in order?
Jericho, Moxley, Page and Kenny.
Not in order.
Oh, in order. Oh,
yeah.
Omega,
Kenny, then
Omega
Page.
was 3, and then Page. Yep.
Okay. It'll be a little bit more difficult to name the tag teams because they moved a little bit more. But the first ever AEW Tag Team Champions were SCU.
Ooh, that's right.
Scorpio Sky and Frankie Kazarian.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's correct. They dropped to, was it the Bucks eventually?
No, the Bucks didn't win it until later on. But there's not a lot of multiple winners. Like Nyla Rose, I believe, is a 2-time women's champion. Yeah. But like I said, there's Scorpio Sky is the first person to hold 2 separate titles in the company.
Yeah, and then you've got Cody, and then Sammy have multiple TNT title reigns.
Yeah, Cody's a 3-time TNT champion, and Sammy is a 2-time TNT champion.
Hey, Cody might be a 4-time TNT champion, depending on how things land.
You never know. I mean, because he can't be a world champion.
So they say.
And, when they announce the World Championship, I don't know if you've ever noticed this. It's the AEW TNT Championship. It's the All Elite Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion. They go full proper. So,
yeah, man.
What a night last night.
There.
Yeah, what a night last night. 3 title matches, 1 title change, 1 debuting superstar, and multiple angles started.
So I knew there was a lot going on when I was watching. I knew there was a lot when we finished it. But my goodness, talking about it here this morning, hearing us recap it and regurgitate it, if you will, my goodness, it was a big night. Just a newsworthy night.
We've had, I'm telling you, since Sunday, since we've done Revolution, and then all the way through, this morning, the sports world and the wrestling world are just on fire.
Yeah. And I don't feel like it every week, but this week in particular, I feel like it's 2 companies where competition's kind of making each other better. And
I hope that's the case.
There are weeks where you feel like WWE is not changing anything or doing anything to try to move the needle outside of selling Roman Reigns t-shirts, but trying to move the needle to really compete or change what they would do otherwise.
They're trying to take over the wrestling news cycle.
Yeah, my goodness, you're right. I mean, with McMahon's interview last week coming a day after Tony Khan's announcement, and then what I say is a pretty big surprise NXT title win 2 nights ago. There's a lot happening here on this road to WrestleMania.
Stone Cold Steve Austin is allegedly going to wrestle. I mean, again, think about the last 4 days of just wrestling.
Not only that, but allegedly the night that we're going to be there.
Yeah. And I mean, like I said, with football world has blown everybody away. Aaron Rodgers resigns. Russell Wilson traded to Denver. Carson Wentz going to Washington. I mean, this week is on fire.
Without a doubt.
And we're on fire, so we're going to go put ourselves out. That's the end of the program for this morning. We got one more to do tomorrow morning. Matthew Thomas, the man they call Meathead. Hey, thanks for stopping by. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning. So long, everyone.